Orchis, a word older than any civilization that has existed in human history, it's about to change, once more. Like mountain, it will rise, like continent, it will move, and eventually, the tide will change. The wheel of fate is churning, the nobility are waning, the resources are draining, and the people are coming together. Which way will you spin the wheel, Lancer? Hello viewers and welcome to a brand new episode of Trashtalk on Lancer, Field Guide on the Karakan Trade Baronies edition, where I talk stuff about mech. In this episode, we will be talking about two alt frames, Orchis and Calendula from Royal Karakan Foundries. Orcus is the alternative frame of Black Witch, and as such, it shares the rest of the license with it. Orcus is also a genus in the orchid family, or Orchidaceae. Its name comes from Orcus in ancient Greek, which means testicles. Named after the flower, Orcus is a frame with a very sturdy shield, and there's a lot of tricks it can do with it. Looking at its stat, Orcus is a standard boy with decent survivability and just enough repair cap. It is fast and it needs to, and while it can't hack very well, it still has a decent sensor range, excellent save target, and enormous amount of base systems point with a good heat cap. As for its traits, it has three of them. First, perfect parry. Orcus and any ally nearby are immune to all damage and effects from missed attacks. Second, Guardian, you know this already, we are moving on. And third, Royal Guard, when a nearby ally mech moves besides Orcus, Orcus also move with it, mirroring the character's movement. However, this movement still obey obstruction, and between its turns, this movement is limited by its speed +1, that said, this isn't a reaction, and also doesn't trigger reaction or engagement. To put it shortly, Orcus is the most mobile defender frame around, because as much as these big boys can protect their allies with their big bulk, Orcus doesn't need it because they can just move with their allies, and this only gets even better if you use Punkrati or Honor Guard, so much mobility. Onto its weapon mount, Orcus only has one, a main/auxiliary, but it also has a core passive called Hunting Eagle, in which for once per round, when you cause a character to collide with object or another character, you can, in addition of other effects, throw your shield at them for 3 damage and rendering them unable to take reaction until the end of their next turn. This effect also don't cost action or reaction to activate, you just do it, meaning, if you want to shut a NPC's reaction down for a while, just throw them into a wall. As for its core power, Orcus can activate Helion for Helion. With a quick action, you throw your shield hard at a target in range 6, essentially making a ram action that can't miss and knock the target back by 3 spaces instead of 1. This attack also causes characters to collide as normal, so you can just throw your shield again with Hunting Eagle to smack them even harder. If you are thinking that that's a good core power but it sounds kinda weak, you are correct, because you are meant to use this in every scene, thanks to a tag called Efficient. Essentially, anytime you use a systems with this tag, you gain core power back at the end of the scene, so you can just throw the shield hard practically whenever you like, knocking anyone you don't like onto their ass hard. And that's basically it with Orcus, a mobile defender frame that can shut down enemies with its shield at a distance, and keep in mind, with Black Witch license, Orcus can gain a lot of systems to control enemies' movement or protect itself and its allies from hacking. Those systems might be very useful to it. Next, there's Calendula. Calendula is the alternative frame of Minotaur, and as such, it shares the rest of the license with it. Calendula is also a genus of about 15 to 20 species of annual and perennial herbaceous plants in the daisy family Asteraceae, that are often known as marigolds. The word calendula came from calendae in Latin, meaning little calendar, little clock, or possibly little weather glass, and there's a folklore behind its name. There was once a golden-haired child named Marigold, who spent all of her time watching the sun until one day she disappeared and was never found, but in the place where she used to sit, there grew a little sun-like flower, and the child's friends proclaimed that the girl has turned into the flower. Is this story supposed to be for children? What the named after the flower, Calendula has a more permanent mean of disappearing someone forever. Looking at its stat, Calendula is a very tough mech with a rather low repair cap, and only averagely speedy. It is well defended against and good at tech attack, even though its sensor range leaves something to be desired. Its save target is excellent though, its heat cap is good too, and it has a generous amount of base systems points. As for its traits, it has 3 of them. First, Sculptor of Fate. For once per round when Calendula hacks someone, it produces a void husk in range 3 of them. The husk is intangible, which is a new tag, but basically it means you can't touch it unless you are on the other side, and emits a burst 2 effect that causes hostile to be slowed in the zone, and Calendula can make as many of these husk as they want to. Second, Grammaton Law, slowed hostile character are also shredded when in range 3 of Calendula, you can start to see where this is going. And third, Grammaton Mantle, Calendula can become intangible as a protocol until its next turn. To sum it up, Calendula is a hack and slash mech that wants to get close, hack someone, and smash them apart, which is aided by all the Minotaur systems that loves to slow enemies down a lot. And with Grammaton Mantle, if Calendula is in danger, it can just avoid all the troubles by turning into a ghost. It can also just walk right through wall with this. It's basically Fade Cloak in trait form, but there's more use to this trait than it seems. As for its weapon mount, Calendula also only has one, a main/auxiliary, and as core passive, Calendula has Execrate, in which as a quick tech, for once per round, you can target a character within range 3 of a Void Husk to banish them into the Shadow Realm, making them intangible too. You can do this to an ally that wants to get away from something too. This intangible effect only ends when the banished character moves close to a Void Husk and touches it to clear the effect. With this tech action, Calendula can isolate enemies with incredibly ease, then become intangible themselves to murder them in this other side, making them stay there permanently. Worse, if you have Morning Cloak, or any allies with Fade Cloak, you can double team any isolated enemies very efficiently. As for its core power, Calendula can activate Execration of the names of the unworthy dead for weighing of inequitable hearts. Yeah, Calendula is a Horus alt frame alright, that's one long ass name. Basically with a quick action, Calendula can get a hostile and ally character in range 5 of you or a Void Husk to become intangible until end of your next turn. Meaning, your ally doesn't even need Fade Cloak to double team a poor fellow with you now. Also this core power has efficient tag, so you can use this in every scene of a mission to pummel someone in hell and straight to hell. In short, Calendula turns Minotaur from an area denial controller, to an absolute murder of a tech striker frame that can hide the corpses of its victim easily, and with Minotaur license, Calendula is only going to get even better at its job. And that's all on these two alt frames, giving more options for the players to strategize new ways in defeating the enemies. Anyway, that's all on the Mechs of Field Guide to Karakan Trade Baronies. Once again, this series will be put back on hiatus. That's all for now, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.